Good day, everyone. I hope all of you is doing good and great. By the way, I am Jasami Varsana Kapendut from BS Ed English 1A. And as I continuation to the topic, let me discuss to you another two topic, which are the 6 stages of language development and the difference between Langue and Parole. So the first stage is the pre-linguistic stage. This is the first year of the life of the child, and since this is the first year of the life of the child cannot speak clear and accurate words, since the child or a person during this stage only do cooing, babbling, and crying. And this three, which is the cooing, babbling, and crying, is more on producing sounds. And another, a person or a child during this stage respond to human voices without visual cues by turning his head and eyes. So like for example, ang bata is kanang nagduwa siya, then nakabati siya nga kanang gitawag ang iyahang name, either sa iyahang barong mother or sa iyahang father. The child will automatically nga mo turn ang iyang head and kanang iyang eyes as a sign of response nga nakabati siya nga gitawag siya sa iyahang parents. Another response on this stage is that the person on this stage respond appropriately to friendly and angry tones. Yes, the child can respond already during this stage. Just like for example, if imong hagwaon ng bata, di ba? Mukuan sila, mukatawa or mo smile. But if ang pitch gani or ang tono sa imuhang kanang voice is kanang pahilako nimo sila or kasaba nimo sila, the child will automatically cry. Mao na ang ilahang ma-respond sa atoa sa ilahang parents baron or sa ilahang siblings. Ang ma-respond ra jud nana sa usa ka tawo during this stage is only cooing, babbling, crying, laughing, and smiling. Second stage is called hollow phrase stage. During this stage, the person or a child is already 10 to 13 months of age, and the person on this stage can at least speak one word. Although the person on this stage is makaspeak siya og kanang one word, pero di pa siya accurate and clear kaayo. Just like for example, as we've noticed sa ato ang kanang at sa ato ang manghod baron, sa atong igagaw or sa atong mga pagumangkon, di ba during this stage ang ilahang masulti lang kay mamam, which means inom, and which means malibang na kuno sila, and another is kanang am, which is mukhaon daw kuno sila, and wiwi munay kasagaran nga kanang ilitok sa mga bata during this stage. Another is that during this stage the person practice inflection. When we say inflection, it is changing of voice or pitch. Yes, during this stage diri na magsugod ang pag-change sa voice sa usa ka tawo. And the third stage is the two-word sentences stage. The child or a person during this stage is already 18 months of age or 1 year and a half. And the person on this stage learn more words. Yes, kaninga stage ang usa ka tawo is naka-learn na siya more words. Unlike sa hollow phrase stage, di ba sa hollow phrase is ang usa ka tawo is maka-speak lang siya one word. Sa kaninga stage is that the person can at least speak 2 to 3 words. And since maka-speak na siya 2 to 3 words, the person can now begin to combine words to make phrases. And also, during this stage, the person enables to formulate sentences which may be declarative, imperative, negative, and interrogative. So what is declarative? Declarative is a type of sentence that states a fact or opinion. Just like for example, moingon ang bata nga dog cute, which means the dog daw kuno is cute. And you pretty, which means you are pretty daw ko, no? And another is that negative sentence. Yes, during this stage, the person can at least or formulate a negative sentence. So what is negative sentence? This type of sentence so what is negative sentence? It's something that refuses or denies a thing or a person. Just like for example, maingon ang child nga, I don't like that, di daw siya ganahan ana. Maingon pud siya nga kanang, no, maingon. Kay ba na siya mo kuan ba? Kay ba na siya nga kanang kay ba na siya mo refuse? Kay ba naman siya sa yang gusto ani nga stage. Another sentence that a child can formulate during this stage is interrogative. So what is interrogative? Is a determiner or a pronoun used to ask question. Yes, during this stage, ang mga bata is maka-formulate or maka-construct na silang mga questions. Just like for example, the child say, "You happy?" or "Are you happy ba daw ko, no?" And or "You ready?" "Are you ready na ba daw ko, no?" Kanang mga. And another sentence that a child can formulate during this stage is imperative. Kaning imperative sentence, usa ka sentence bitaw nga kanang nagkumad ang usa ka tawo or nanugo. Just like for example, mingon ang bata nga, more milk, more sugar, more water, or ningkuman sila nga gusto ko ato, which means gusto daw kuno sila ato. Consequently, during this stage, the person or a child can now construct a sentence which can be asking, which can be commanding, or stating a fact or opinion, or know how to refuse. Now let's go on to the fourth stage. So the fourth stage is the telegram stage or the multiple word sentences. The child or the person during this stage is already 2 years old or 2.5-year-old. And the child or the person during this stage can use at least 2 to 3 prepositions. Example of preposition that the child can use during this stage is in, on, at, or with. Or on the other hand, the person during this stage can use preposition in constructing a sentence. Just like for example, the child say, in the table, with me, at the cabinet, just like that. And aside from preposition, the child or the person during this stage can also use at least 2 to 3 pronouns. Example of a pronoun that the child can speak on this stage is he, she, I, or mine. Just like for example, the child say she is pretty, he is handsome, just like that. Or another example, that is mine, the toy is mine. And aside from using preposition and pronoun to construct a sentence, the person also during this stage can at least name number of object that is common on his or her surroundings. Yes, ang child ani nga stage is kanang makaname na og mga butang, kanang common nang ilahang makita. Just like for example, toy. Hibaw na sila unsa ng toy, ball, t-shirt, color, or bottle. Kanang ilang kanang bibiron ba? Hibaw na sila unsa ng bibiron, bag, color pencil, cellphone, TV. Kibaw na sila kanang name sa mga object nga common sa ilahang surrounding. And aside from that, the child or the person also during this stage can respond to such command. Yes, maka-respond na ang mga ang bata ani nga stage because ang ilahang learnings about sa usa ka language kay na-develop naman or na-enhance. So like for example, imong gisugo ang imuhang manghod baron, ingon ka nga get your DD please or you can't go out. Or another command is fix your toy please. Makakuan na ana, maka-respond na ang mga bata ni ana during this stage. So now let's go on to the fifth stage, which is the near adult grammar stage. The person during this stage is already 2 years old and a half or already 3 years old. And the person during this stage enables to handle at least 3 to 4 word sentence easily, which can be conjunction, permutation, or embedded sentence. So what is conjunction? Conjunction is a word that is used to connect words, phrases, and clauses. Example of conjunction words is and, but, if, so. Like for example, the child say, so it is delicious, and the man, just like that. And what is embedded? Embedded sentence is a sentence contain dependent and independent clause or phrase. So ang kaning embedded, makita ni nato siya sa beginning or kinalasan sa usa ka sentence. Just like for example, which is very old, who has green eyes, or where is mommy, just like that. And another type of sentence that the child can handle during this stage is permutation. So permutation is the process of exchanging the position or the order of constituents in a sentence. Just like for example, ma, kaon ako, or kaon ako ma, kana bitong usa siya ka sentence nga pwede siya balihon. Pero dili siya pwede dugangan, or sa pag-permuted nimo dili siya pwede kanang dugangan or kanang ibanan. Pagbali-bali sa mga words ba. And another example is, can you do this? Or if imo siyang i-permuted, or if i-permuted siya sa usa ka tao, do this, you can. Just like that. Another during this stage is that about 90% of what child says is intelligible. Yes, during this stage, ang isulti sa usa ka tawo is masabtan na, which mayon galitag intelligible, masabtan, mas klaro na ang words nga gamiton sa usa ka bata, mas clear and accurate na ang words nga iyahang gi-speak or gigamit sa iyahang pakipag-communicate. And another is that able to answer some questions. Yes, the child on this stage can answer some simple questions only since 3 years old pa man sila. Just like for example, pangutan ni mga usa ka bata nga okay ra ka or nikaon na ka ana. Then motubag po na sila, of course, nakasabot man sila sa imuhang gipangutana, motubag or respond po na sila sa imuha. Person also during this stage is knows some chief parts of the body and able to indicate and name it. Yes, ang mga bata ani during this stage is kanang maka-indicate o makapangana sila sa kanang parte sa lawas sa usa ka tawo. Just like for example, if imong pangutan-on ng usa ka bata kung asa ang iyang mata, kung asang ilong, asang baba, asang lips, maka-indicate na sila and ilahan na nang mapangalan na nilag unsa na. Now let's go on to the last stage, which is the adult-like language structure stage. So the person during this stage is already 5 to 6 years old, and since the person is old enough naman, the person's speech should be completely intelligible and socially useful. Yes, kinahanglan during this stage ang usa ka bata, kinahanglan ang iyahang language is kanang na-develop na jud siya pag-ayo. na-develop na jud siya pag-ayo, kinahanglan kuan na siya, mas masabtan na jud siya, kompleto na jud siya na masabtan, and kinahanglan ang iyang language or ang pag-construct niya sa sentence, kinahanglan magamit na niya sa iyang magamit na niya sa iyang pag-interact or pakipag-communicate. And also, during this stage, the person should be able to tell happenings. Yes, as we've noticed sa mga bata nga nag-edad og 5 to 6 years old is mga tabian na jud sila kaayo. Grabe, daghan na jud kayo sila gipangsulti. Tungod kay na-develop naman pag-ayo ang ilahang language. Makasulti na sila kung unsay nahitabo sa ilaha sa school, while nagduwa sila, or ang mga butangan na ilahang nakita. Mga situation or events nga na-overcome or nakita nila. Kay baw na sila mosulti mga inana. And also, during this stage, the pitch on the whole should be grammatically correct. Yes, kinahanglan during this stage, grammatically correct na jud ang mga words nga isulti sa usa ka tawo. Kinahanglan mo avoid natag mga in-grammatical sentence. There is complex structural distinctions can be made, such as by using the concept ask or tell and promise. Yes, just like for example, the child say, ask him if he can go out, or tell him that I would be late, or you've promised that you would come. Just like that. So I guess I am now done discussing the 6 stages of language development. So now let's go on to another topic, which is langue and parole. Langue and parole. Langue and parole are actually first suggested by a French semiotician, philosopher, and linguistic, which is Ferdinand de Saussure. And he popularized langue and parole in his course in general linguistics that is being published in the year 1916. Langue and parole are actually a French word. Langue means language or tongue, while parole means speech or speaking or speech of individual person. So langue and parole are more than just a language and speech. Of course, it is more than just a language and speech, since like what I've said earlier, langue means language and parole means speech. So more on speech and language jud siya. And another is that langue and parole forms an important part of the theoretical basis of structuralism. Yes, parole and langue forms an important part of theoretical basis of structuralism, because without langue and parole, we cannot study human expression, the behavior, and personality of an individual. Consequently, langue and parole is one of the reasons of why we understand someone's behavior, personality, and attitude. And langue and parole is one of the reasons or one way of understanding human expression. That is why langue and parole is very important in theoretical basis of structuralism, because it plays a important role on theoretical basis of structuralism to help us study human expression. So now let's go on to this table to really know the difference between langue and parole. So just like what I've said earlier, langue means language or tongue, while parole means speech or speaking. And langue is abstract. Yes, it is abstract because langue is an idea but not having a physical existence. And it is also abstract because there are many rules in using a particular language. And additionally, it is abstract because langue, it is difficult to observe and almost impossible to capture. Unlike sa parole, kuan siya, ang parole is concrete use of the language, the actual appearances. Parole is concrete. because if someone talk to us, we see his or her reaction. Diba? If kanang magsulti or mo speak ang usa ka tawo, kuan na jud siya physical existence, makita man nato iyahang unsaon niya pag-deliver sa iyahang language, sa usa ka language, makita nato iyahang expressions, iyang behavior, mo nang mas concrete ang parole kaysa sa langue. Ang parole is na jud siya kanang physical existence. We just have to remember that langue is abstract, while parole is concrete. Next is langue is the method of human communication. It is the method of human communication, of course, because without language, we cannot elicit a good communication or interaction. Or without language, we cannot express ourselves. Without langue, there is no parole. While parole is the process of expressing ourselves. Of course, more on speaking or writing or speech man ang parole, it is more expressing ourselves, since if we speak or if we write, ma-express na to ato ang self, di ba? So that's why parole is a process of expressing ourselves. Another is langue comprises the rules of grammar of language, the syntax, the phonetics, spelling, and punctuation. Yes, ang kuanda ko no, ang langue kay consist siya of mga rules, just like syntax, the arrangement of words, the phonetics, the speech, the more sound speech, while the spelling and the punctuation, mo na siya mga rules sa language, the syntax, the phonetics, spelling, and the punctuation. We just we need to use this, or kinahanglan i-apply jud nato ning mga rules sa usa ka language, because importante ni siya kay kung mogamit kag language na walay arrangement of words, so dili jud masabtan ang imuhang gisulti, di ba? Di masabtan ang usa ka language. O kinahanglan pod, if mogamit tag usa ka language, naa jud siya kanang sounds. And in terms of writing a language, spelling and punctuation is very important. We should know the correct spelling of a certain words, and kinahanglan pod kahibaw ta kung magsuwat pod ta, kahibaw ta asa ta mohunong, magbutang jud tag period, comma baron, or parentheses. Next is parole designates actual oral and written communication by a members of a particular speech community. It means how we deliver the language, either through actual speaking or through writing lang. How we deliver language to other people or to a certain community. That is parole. So consequently, parole is not possible or effective without langue, because how can we able to speak or to express ourselves without using langue or language or tongue? That is why even though they have differences, they still work together. So I guess I am now done discussing the two topics, which are the 6 stages of language development and langue and parole. I hope nasabtan rin ninyo ang ako ang discussion, and thank you for watching my video. Keep safe and God bless everyone.